Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Prize Fighters, Circus Freaks, and Gangsters. I'm Greta.
And I'm Jamie.
And we are back to discuss Shogun, which is still not the 19th century, but boy, oh boy, is it going to inform it. And this week's episode, what do you think? The Abyss of Life?
It is a fun one. You know, because we usually have the different S words that we go through for, like, you know, all the scandal and all that we cover, but we can add suicide to that for 17th century Japan, you know?
Oof, yes.
Yeah, we got swords and swashbuckling and style and strife and suicide. And soup.
Oh, yeah, and there is, you know, just the trickery, the double crossing, there are so many layers of subterfuge going on here. I don't even know where to start. Stop. Something.
Can you imagine if there was reality TV back then? Like the Medicis and the Japanese would just be nonstop watching each other.
Oh,
they would learn each other's languages just for the reality television.
Yes.
For all the trickery and shenanigans. Oh my God. It was nonstop with these people.
Indeed. And I mean, we start this episode in, like, just, you know, if there were doom drums, it's just like doom, doom, doom. As Toronaga is just, like, galumphing his way to Azaka. He's coughing. His hair is just, like, messy. You know? He is a
sometimes you gotta drag your feet a little bit.
There you go.
Hey, I mean, we were all kids getting punished at some time, and we definitely dragged our feet, literally and figuratively.
And at this point, I'm like, part of me is like, well, he's in trouble. But having seen the number of times that Toronaga has taken exactly the same circumstance and done 3 different things with it, I'm like, he's playing this up. He's up to something. And the fact that he lets himself be out there, looking all shaggy and like his hair kind of uneven and stuff, he knows appearances are important. He is up to something.
He is the Daniel Day-Lewis of 17th century Japan. I mean, he is fully method on this one. He's putting himself in the character. You know what I mean? Like, he's all the way in it. Because I keep second guessing it. I'm like, shit, maybe he is surrendering.
Yeah, because I mean, he's not only body acting, he's hair acting.
He's coughing constantly too. He's
yeah.
You know, it's that like a little work cough. You don't want to go into work where you tell your boss. Back when we were 16. It's June 17th and it's a beautiful day outside, but I'm definitely sick right now. Yeah, I certainly cannot come into Leslie's Pool Supplies and do some bullshit. So I will be at the beach, but as far as you know, I'm sick.
When my son was like a little tiny baby, he realized that I would like turn to him really quickly when he coughed, and I'm like, this is a tiny like peanut of a child, and he would go and I'd look at him and he'd like just like his face would light up like it worked. So yeah and Yabashige proves he's still a weird little dude when it comes to death, because he's like, yeah, slipping on a rock in a tea house, breaking your head open. Yeah, I'm going to put that under boiling in oil. Just like, Jesus.
It's worse than being boiled in oil, but it's probably better than being eaten by our dogs. Probably better.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I was just like,
you're a dude. Yep, that is dude talk. That's... slipping on a rock and fucking cracking your head open and killing yourself when you're trying to kill your sworn enemy. When he's injured, it could not possibly get much worse than that. He was a fuck up, but even for fucking up, he fucked that one up. So, wow.
We need to write that one down. That one goes on the list.
Write that one down. I never even thought that was the way you could die.
And then Mariko giving Anjin, like, this is one of those conversations when she hands over the books to him. This feels like if you just read it in an email with no context, you're like, what's so bad here? But listening to the intonations and knowing the history, like, this is a kiss off.
This is also one of those situations where men involved in man brain are not paying any attention to all of the subtext going on. So she's just like putting all of this meaning into all these actions that aren't bouncing off his head. And now she's going to hold those things against him probably for the rest of his life because he didn't.
Yeah. Or the rest of her life.
Well, certainly the rest of her life.
We don't know.
Yeah. As long as she is capable of holding a grudge, she will hold a grudge about that because he didn't know what she wanted at that time. He was not reading her mind.
Well, and, you know, and so she's handing him all of the rudders, his logbooks, and she's looking at him like, look at me not mentioning that you are a murdering pirate bastard. And he's like, yeah, thanks. Cool.
I'm giving you your diaries back that are filled with all of your pirate shit where you're murdering Catholics. And by the way, I'm a Catholic. So I'm going to give you these back so you don't get killed about it. But yeah.
Yeah,
no
and
bigs.
You're faithless. And by the way, we're going to keep your land nice for you. And he's like, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. That's really cool. Do you want me to sign your yearbook real quick? No? All right, well, cool. I'm going to go fuck off then. He's just not, it's not, and it's not anything the guys are doing intentionally. We are just motoring on down our path. We have set a goal and we are achieving that goal. And you have just come by the wayside to hand us something as we motor on past.
Yeah, because he really like does have this one North Star he's headed for. Like he wants to sail home, and so on one hand, like he's not picking up what she's putting down, but she's also like putting it down too softly. Like, at what point did she ever think he was going to pick up a subtle hint?
She didn't. It's exactly one of those traps that women leave for men, where they're like, well, I'm going to do this thing that he will certainly fail to accomplish, and then I can hold it against him. As I was saying, she's doing all of these subtle little things, and she's going to be pissed that he didn't notice them. It's all coming back to him at some point.
Okay, yeah, we're going to, between Mariko and some Buntaro, there's some good stuff to talk about there. But yeah, I do love that Anjin goes, hey, look, I may be dense as stone, but even I know Osaka's a trap. And Marika's like, maybe so, but see, Bub, I'm already in a trap. Like, my whole life is a trap, so, potato. Ooh, yeah. So, what did you think of the terrible couple of Ishido and Ochiba?
Well, they're so hard to read. They're so like their faces have no expression on them whatsoever. So it's just like, what in the fuck am I looking at? Like, I can't get any sense of them at all. She has nothing but contempt for this man. So
yes.
And she's a consort. So it's like, all right, who are you looking down at this man? But she's looking down at him because she had the Shogun's son. So like, yeah. All right, so she's got that over this guy, but still, she's looking way down on this man. She talks to him like he's garbage. He follows her around like she's a little puppy dog.
Or he's the puppy.
He's the puppy. Yeah, he's the puppy.
Yeah,
and it's bizarre as hell. And meanwhile, even like everybody is looking at her like, leave this man alone. Like, and also stop fucking everything up. And she just can't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop.
She can't. I mean, she is kind of looking down on him because it's that royalty thing the world over. You know, she was born to a better station than him. And then, like, he literally has a job for a living. Like, he's a bureaucrat. He has a job that he has to do, whereas she spends her whole life just sort of doing all of these decorative forms of life.
Yes.
So she's partly looking down on him for that, but also, you know, she's also the gif of that lady having hot dogs thrown at her face, basically, for her whole life. And so she's a little bit like, oh, you too? Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll give you the kiss off, but like the way I have to do with everyone, because you are such a political baby child and you don't understand that just because Toronaga is coming to Osaka, like, he hasn't lost. I know that. Come on, man.
Well, and also I hadn't considered the fact that that now he's getting 49 days of mourning for his son. Yeah. So he doesn't have to show up to Osaka. So it actually worked out that his kid died, because now he gets 49 days to plot or to surrender, or to look like he's surrendering. And so,
or yeah, something. But yeah, at the end of that whole thing, Ishida is standing there going, but I told you were pretty. What do you want?
But that's this whole, if it's not Ishido with her, it's Buntaro Mariko, it's like,
Yeah.
but I made you tea. Oh my god! Like,
Yes. Oh, but we get to listen in on Nepo baby Nagakota's wake, and it is kind of sweet. They're like he wasn't a bad guy.
it is not sweet. They're grinding him up. They're just like he was a total fuck up. Like, remember when he fucked this up? Oh yeah, how about when he fucked that up? Oh yeah, he also fucked that up too. And they're doing it right in front of his friend who's like losing his mind because they're like, well, yeah, that kid was he was a royal fuck up.
Well, but I felt like they were kind of saying like, he tried really hard, and if anything, he was just like super haunted by having his dad as his dad.
Being called a tryhard is not a compliment. It's not a compliment. They were not complimenting.
Huh.
There's a difference. So, and I've given a lot of thought to what separates a tryhard from a person who's not a tryhard, and much of it is success.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So people who just seem to throw themselves into something, but they're always doing the wrong thing in an effort to succeed, if that makes sense. Those are
Yeah.
those are tryhards. So they're giving you the appearance of trying very, very hard, but they're actually accomplishing nothing.
Right. They're doing things to be doing things. They're not like taking a step back and going, what actually needs to be done here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they are calling him a tryhard and all that, but I just sort of felt like we feel sorry for him because he was just kind of such a fuck up. Like nobody was ever calling him a bad guy.
No, certainly not. But I mean, this wasn't it probably wasn't the great wake that anybody would want to have.
No.
And then his friend got all weepy and stood up and was like, he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't stand for this because he was a tough guy. And it's like, bro, he wasn't that tough. And also, he slipped.
And he would have also somehow managed to screw it up.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Also, do you really want him in the assault? If he had survived to get to the assault part, he would have slipped and fallen on a rock then. So, I mean, a rock was going to get him sooner or later, and that's how he went.
Yeah. I mean, and really, it did come down to that. In a twisted way, this is the best thing he could have done for his dad.
It really was. It was his gift to his dad.
Yep. Props to the production team for a hell of a funeral procession. There were like so many people in that. They got an actual Buddhist priest to do the ritual. I mean,
did they really?
Yeah. I was checking the credits.
That's awesome. There's so much. I mean, we're given a time machine by Hulu for this thing.
Yes.
They might not have anything else worth watching on that entire service, but this show is amazing.
Yes. And if nothing else, my terrible intrigue loving heart was like, see, from always, people have always been doing shit talking and gossiping in funeral processions, doing, protests of something like, this is not the time, this is a funeral. I'm like, yeah, people have always been using that for that. So.
There's literally always somebody at every funeral going, this is not the time for that. Have some decorum.
Yes.
It's not a funeral unless somebody's saying that. Either that or you were not well liked because there's only one person at your funeral and they don't have anybody to argue with.
There you go. You've got the Edo generals saying, never surrender, and, wearing their armor in their procession and just like grumpy face.
That pretty much describes Japanese men, by default. Grumpy face.
There you go. I mean, yeah. And then you've got Mariko talking about like, yep, I'm going to have to go to this Osaka castle. I know it's totally a trap, but you know what? I have game respect game for Ochiba right there. She's like, yep, this whole thing, it's making everything worse, but I'm going to risk my life for this because I don't value my life all that much. Toronaga, team him, and you know what? She's playing the game well, so.
Yeah, she says each of us endures in their own way, which I thought was a really nice way of saying exactly what you said. It's a really nice way of saying every man for themselves, or every woman.
Yes, and then Bujiro comes in. He's like, hey, I'm being chill. Ciao, Lady Ren. Like, all good. And then she just, the ice and the animosity between them, Lady Ren's like, I could go? Should I go? I could leave.
Yeah. Yeah, could I please leave? And they're like, no, why don't you stay? Why don't you stay and protect us from each other? But then he was really nice. And he was like, I would like to please prepare tea for you. And I was like, oh, see, I was right. He is in love with her. Oh,
Well, and the way it was stated, like, again, this is like through 4 levels of translation. And so, in like the most formal way possible, I would like to prepare tea for my wife. Like, they were
yes.
emphasizing, like, he said this in, there's like modern English doesn't have a formal enough way to say it. So
Yeah, I
they
think he
did their
said, would it be
dangdest.
permissible for me to prepare tea for my wife or something along
Yeah,
those lines?
yeah, like it
Yeah.
was. And so you're like, apology, olive branch, are we clearing the decks? Like, clearly this is of moment.
Yeah, but we really do not have a level of formality that even approaches this.
Mm-mm.
We literally have, we can put on a dress or a tie, the end.
Yeah, yeah,
That's as far as it goes. And it
yeah,
might come with an extra please and thank you, but that's about as far as it goes.
yeah, yeah. Huh. So we move out of that, and then we get to see kind of plebe housing as it's being built in Edo. And we've talked about the lack of city planning. That is the opposite of what's going on. Like, they are building these houses right up next to each other, so many houses per row, so far apart from each other. Like, the planning that's happening in this city as it's just like whoop being built around us is, my mind is exploding over that.
Isn't it amazing to just see once in your life, like city planning done correctly, even if it's just in a fantasy land where, well, we'll never be able to go to this place where like the sewers work and all the infrastructure is perfect. But like, if we could not be American for 5 minutes and just live in a place where they were like, we have a plan and this is going to be great. And then they do
Yes.
the plan. I want to live in that place, Finland or Norway or Scandinavia. I feel like they
Oh,
do that. They're like, we have a central plan that we developed with a committee of experts on the subject, and this is the thing we're going to do. How does that sound? And everybody goes, yay! And then they do it.
yeah. They're not like the government's trying to keep us down. Don't tell us what to do. We're like, how about we make it so your like most buildings don't fall down when there's an earthquake, like there's always going to be. I mean, that's the thing. Like, there were those huge earthquakes in Japan, and everything was pretty much fine. The tsunami was the problem, but the earthquake, everybody's like, that was annoying. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's although really on the West Coast, you guys could use a little bit of central planning, given all the earthquakes and mudslides, and now that you got a lot of people living outside all the time, it probably could. We need to get some kind of central committee together to.
We
Except for Oregon's just going to try to criminalize it and fine homeless people, which I find fascinating.
that always works
With
so
with
well.
what shall
Yeah,
they
yeah.
pay? Pine cones?
Dear Liza, dear Liza.
His
Oh,
house is under a tree.
yeah. I again, like, that is one of those big wheels that we have spun once before, and you know what it did? Not work. That's what it did.
That's true. It did. But back to 17th century
Yes.
Japan. In Edo, it's working. It's working. Although there's no central committee, it's just
Yeah.
one guy
Yeah,
going,
screw committee. Yeah.
let's do this.
But okay,
Yeah.
how much fun did you have with the gunfight between Anjin-san and Father Albedo in the street there? Like, if that was not two gunfighters eyeing each other down, I don't know what that was.
Well, that was an intellectual gunfight, which
True,
yeah,
true,
which
true.
I don't think most people ever get into, but it was really fun because the condescension coming off the priest to walk up and try to translate
Oh,
for Anjin-san,
yes.
and then
Mhm.
Anjin-san turned around and goes, well, I appreciate your failed efforts at what you just did, but no, that's not what I was trying to say. And then turned around and fluently said, I wanted charcoal, not more wood, and turned around and was like, what else do you want, idiot?
Yeah. Yeah, like he was trying to come up with the word, and that sort of gave him the time for the back of his brain to like kick it out. And
Yeah,
he's like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Spite is an excellent
And
motivator. Yeah.
right? And so like Tsuji-san like takes the left turn. And he's like, well, since you're not living in the castle like a real Hatamoto, what you gonna do? And Anjin's like, go back to my boat and shoot your boat. And then, in your dress, You gonna do that? You gonna wear your dress to shoot my boat? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my clean dress. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go do that. It was pretty funny. It was like you're gonna do that wearing that outfit. That's not something you generally hear out of a guy. That's usually that's
Yeah.
usually a high school girl saying that. Oh yeah, you're gonna do that in that outfit. But
And it was really fun because he looks up and down on Father Alvedo. He's like, "Well, you're wearing a dress too, bub."
except it's filthy and filled with lice and weighs 14 pounds.
Yeah. So he was. He was like, "I think I will." And then Father Alvedo, Suji-san, sort of walks away. He's like, "Fuck! How did he win that?
Yeah.
Somehow he won that."
He won that in 3 different languages. Fuck.
Yep. And so then we get back to Toronaga, and if he's not actually sick, he is working his ass off, convincing everyone. The closest guys, the Edo generals, Mariko, Father Alvedo. And yet, even in this state, he's like, I'm not taking stuff from you, you Catholic peasant.
Oh, that was amazing. He was like, no, we're removing the ability for you to speak Japanese. So just talk through Mariko now. You don't even speak to me. You're disgusting. You disgust.
Yeah. I can't even be bothered to listen to you. Just that.
Yeah. But he gives him his church. He's like, but true to my word, you're getting that church because I'm a man of my word. I'm a samurai. Check out these swords.
Yep.
Man of my word, you're gonna get your church in, sir.
Yep. And I also did like the thing where, Tsuji, Father Alvedo's like, yeah, I don't know why, but this Ochiba chick, she's like mad at you. Do you have any idea why? I mean, what? Dames. And Toronaga's like, I'll play along with you. Yeah, dames. Okay. Yeah, sure. Anyway, yeah, have your church. Oh. And, but if you get your church, I need you to go to Osaka and tell them what you are seeing here. I mean, the whole thing there.
I didn't pick up on that at all. And then he went out. So he goes out in the hall, and the old, what's that old guy's name? Hiromatsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, so he goes out and he's like, all right, it's on. We're gonna fight because he just said he's not letting a priest go tell anybody anything. So he just sent a priest out to go tell these people it's on. So like, it's fucking on. We're about to go do this shit.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but he's up. I knew it. He's up to something. That guy has more layers than a French pastry, man. And everybody's like, yeah, that's the Toronaga. We know. Okay, yeah.
And we find out that Yabashiga has to deliver the cannons to Osaka, which sounds to me like...
Is he going to deliver the cannons?
Well, you remember when your kid delivered... Remember when your kid delivered the cannons to those people?
Yeah.
He delivered those cannons, but good, didn't he? Why don't you go deliver some cannons in the style of your idiot son?
But yes, so now we get to the tea house ceremony, and there is so much going on here. So do you have any idea about the tea house ceremony? Just like generally, what the heck?
I am well aware that the Japanese samurai were expected to know like 3 cultural things perfectly: tea ceremonies, flower arranging, and poetry. Like, because they had to be able to do a death poem, they had to be able to arrange flowers for I don't know what reason. But it was an essential part of and the tea ceremony. I knew it was essential, but I didn't know really anything beyond that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really kind of right at this period. At the start of the Edo period where the tea ceremony super gets elevated. Like, it was always kind of this sacred place. Like, people talk about churches kind of being sacrosanct and, being a place where people can take sanctuary and like that everybody comes through equally. Like, you supposedly are supposed to have no rank in a church. You're all equal before God, even though that's not how we've done it. The tea house.
What about the dude with the big hat? It seems as though he's sort of in charge.
Yeah.
The bigger the hat, the more in charge.
Well, and like all of these churches, like the rich people sit up front and anyway.
Their own secret entrances and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But the tea house really does kind of embody that. I mean, first of all, it's a small space. Like, you can see that they built it for this show. using paintings and descriptions from the 17th century. So they really like work their asses off to pull this one off. But so first of all, you don't even walk into a tea house. You like crawl into
Yeah,
it.
you get on your knees and shimmy forward.
Right.
Almost no American could do at this point. So, like right now, every American's like, "Well, I'm out." Like,
Yeah.
I have to kneel. Nope.
Yeah. And so there is this like great equalization. You can't bring that many people in, and the tea house is placed in a garden. So there's like this whole contemplative thing, like even just coming into it. So yeah, there's a lot just even getting in there. And so you can see like there's the instruments on the floor, there's that poem on the wall that is chosen specifically for that occasion. Like somebody running one of these tea houses will have like a storehouse of these poems. Somebody will either write one or choose one that's perfect for whatever your purpose is. So since Buntaro is like, he's doing the tea ceremony, he chose the poem one way or another. He chose the flower that's there.
Oh, okay.
Like this is all with Mariko in mind and whatever he is planning to do.
Okay.
So again, unlike sort of Western churches where like you're like, oh, glory to God, and I'm going to gild the entire church in gold and, have like special fancy seats and lecterns and whatever. The tea house is very, very prescribed. There's 2 pieces of decoration in there, period.
Okay.
And they can't be any fancier than that. And then you have the tea ceremony implements like the dipper for the water. You've got the jug where the water's heating up over the charcoal fire, and like even setting up that fire.
So the way that they prepare this tea is so much different than the Westerners do that it's hard. Like I was like, what the fuck is he even doing? So first they boil the tea over charcoal.
They boil the water.
They boil the water. Yeah, they boil the water separately. And so can you put together how this goes? And how does that change the flavor of the tea? Because there's been so much tea in the news recently with, scientists claiming you could add salt to make the tea taste better, etc. So, yeah, this is interesting because I really thought it comes in a bag and you just put it in the thing and then you move on with your life.
Okay. So there's a lot going on here. First of all, there's like the particular tea that they choose and when they pick it, and then the way they dry it and like don't ferment it. Like black tea has been fermented, sometimes smoked. This is an unfermented tea, so it doesn't last very long. And then they grind it up into this fine powder. So like if you look in your tea bag, it's just like flakes of tea leaves. Okay. Whereas this has been ground to a very specific, like tiny, tiny size. And as you know, like somebody has hand ground it with a mortar and pestle and like, I don't know, done a prescribed number of like grinds or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot to that. And so that tea powder of that bright green means a lot of things have or haven't happened to those tea leaves. Otherwise, they're not going to be that particular color.
Okay.
When they're ground.
It's a very, very bright green. It's like Kermit the Frog green.
Yeah.
And the powder is really fine. To give you guys an idea, if you've not seen this, I mean, it's the same. It looks like instantized protein powder, except it's very, very bright green. So if you made an instantized protein powder out of Kermit the Frog, this is what you got.
Exactly. And so, yeah. And so there's the thing where he like has the big wide cup. It looks like kind of a soup bowl. And it looks very rough.
It was a very large bowl. I mean, we're used to seeing them drink out of little cups or whatever. And this is it's basically a cereal bowl.
Yeah. It's like, it's two-handed and it looks very rough, but that's very intentional. The uneven, like mottled glaze, like somebody has done that very intentionally to reproduce like shadows or, an impression of sound that they had or something. Like every single item is very intentional. And so even before he adds the tea, he puts the hot water in there to warm the bowl up so you're not cooling the tea down too much.
Okay.
And so then he puts the dry tea powder in there, and he's obviously spent, weeks, months, a large chunk of his life, like learning how to scoop that tea out of that little tea holder thingy perfectly in the perfect amounts, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
Just the intentionality of this thing's insane. And then puts the water in, and then he has a little bamboo whisk.
He's got a little, yeah, it's a little like brush thingy. So he's
Yeah.
stirring it with this brush. So that's even like the way he's agitating it is like
Yes.
gentle but effective all at the same. Everything is very gentle and very quiet and very precise.
I don't know about you, but just watching that like calmed me down. Like the whole way they filmed that and the sounds they put with it, I was just like, ah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watching that, I was like, I really need to do more things like that. I like it. The only thing I really do like that is pet animals. I just entirely
Yeah.
focus on animals, and I anything else that's happening, I don't even notice. I'm getting good at talking to people like that too, but I'm not with other things. I haven't gotten good at it, but it's a very useful habit.
Yeah, and even when talking with people, your brain is still going much more. Whereas this,
Hmm.
part of it being so prescribed is you don't have to be conscious about it exactly. That's the goal, that you're so practiced at this that this is all unconscious. Um, but yeah, I mean, he like gives her the tea, and there's that cloth, and the way she holds the bowl and turns it around, like everything means something. I don't know what they all mean, but they do have meaning. And then, she drinks the tea. Like this, you like that's sort of the end of this ritual. And then they have put themselves on this equal footing, and then they can start basically pouring their hearts out to each other.
And well, she gives him a great compliment. She says that was a wonderful performance. So I was like, oh, he's winning her over with the with his presentation, and like he put so much care into it, and maybe he's thawing her heart.
Yeah, and so the Western knights who are all like, I have to do chivalry and I have to do chess. I'm like, you guys have learned nothing. You know nothing compared to what this guy just did.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're too busy learning magic tricks, thinking that's going to get them laid in a
There you
ball.
go. There you go. Yeah, yeah.
Magic
But
always works.
I was just thinking back to the eightfold fence and like that whole process, like all of this, looking at the poetry and the flowers and going through all of this, like you're taking down all of these 8 walls that, you're hiding behind.
Ah, I see. Interesting.
Yeah. So she gives him the compliment, and then they both sort of agree that, yep, they're both doomed. They're probably going to die. So far, so good. Oh, and then Butero is like, we were happy when we first got married. And Mariko's like, don't remember.
Yeah, I don't have a recollection of that. It's that's hazy. That's hazy for me.
But again, like, okay, we're doing this, like bearing our souls to each other. And he's like, so you into that Anjin dude? Just tell me. We're in a safe place. And I am not going to dignify this with a response look that she gives him.
There's a lot of the two of them looking at each other in this. They're like, it's more with their eyes and their facial expressions than it is with their
Yeah.
speech.
Yes. Yeah. No, the eye acting in this whole series is so good. So very good. But Buntaro, he's not gonna let that lie. He's like, yeah, so we're gonna die anyway. How about we die together? That would be
Yeah,
cool. That's a couple.
you wanted to do suicide, and we could do suicide. Like I could kill you, and then we could kill each other. We could do a little murder suicide action. It might be fun.
Yeah. And the first time I saw this, I was like, dude, you have to make everything about you. You have to get your hands all over this thing Mariko wants. But watching it again, it struck me how fucking tragic Buntaro is. Like, we already know Mariko's tragic, but Buntaro is such a tragic figure.
He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He has just been. He's like, I've killed as many people as people told me I needed to kill.
Yes.
And I should be getting gold stars, and I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Like,
yes.
bitch, I married you, and I killed a bunch of people. Did you not see how many people I killed? So why aren't you liking me right now? Like, I definitely gave you a Valentine the very first time we got married, and why don't you like me? But shit, you want to die? Fuck it. Now I want to die too. So why don't we die together? And at least that way we can be together in death. And she's like, are you fucking how dumb are you? How dumb are you right now? You really? Yep.
And he's like, I am following the rules so hard. Like every single rule about how to be and how many people to kill. And I am following all of the rules. Why is this not working?
I even took a bath.
Nah, he likes the baths. Nobody's mad
But
about
he
that.
looks like one of those guys in Japan who bathes under duress. Like, he is just
Possibly,
pissed
yeah.
off about everything. He's like, I don't even want that water to touch my body. I want to bathe in hate.
And this is where, like, last episode, I was like, he's never thinking about her happiness. He never asks her what she wants. I was like, because he has been told over and over to not do that.
Oh, no, he's definitely a guy who will propose a ski race to win the heart of a girl. Or not to win the heart of a girl, just to win the girl.
Just win the girl. Yeah, yeah.
Because nobody gives a shit what she has to say. Just, bitch, shut up.
Yeah. And because he's like, I am following all of the rules I have been given. I am following all the rules as hard as I can. Why isn't it working? I felt suddenly I was like, I still think you're a problem, dude, and I wouldn't want to live with you. But now, like, I understand you are a tragic figure.
Yeah, I got a little misty-eyed for him in this one, actually. Even though he's a pile of shit, I felt bad for him. Not at this scene, but
yeah, he did the tea ceremony perfectly. He is following the rules as hard as he can, and he's just like, it never occurs to him, I'm following the rules as hard as I can, and it's not working. Maybe I should try something different.
Yeah. It's like he read the love languages book, but he just decided, like, without asking her, he was like, her love language is tea ceremony. It definitely is. Like, I got this locked up. I know her really well. I don't even need to ask her.
Right. Well, everybody's told me I don't need to ask her, and I'm following the rules.
Yeah. I even killed like 3 people after I asked them just to make sure.
But yeah, in a weird way, they're kind of like backwards Romeo and Juliet, where the Romeo and Juliet tragedy, and they're like just breaking all the rules left and right, talking to each other on chaperone, buying poison, whatever. Whereas these guys, Buntaro and Mariko, follow the rules real hard, and they are just
out there talking to whoever they want, buying poison. I love your synopsis of Romeo and Juliet. Well, there's these 2 damn kids. They are rapscallions, and they're just out there talking to whoever they want and buying poison. It's the wacky tale. It's a wacky tale. The teen rom-com Romeo and Juliet as Greta, you are going to set the world on fire with that one.
Well, enough with this inscrutable tragedy. Let's skip to a very familiar kind of tragedy, or at least familiar to us Western people, where we've got Anjin. He's gonna finally see his guys, right? He's so excited. This is gonna be great. They're gonna go on a boat, and they're gonna go home, and it's gonna be awesome, right?
Wrong.
Right?
Wrong.
I mean, just the way he starts strolling up that alley, he's like, I'm gonna be the conquering hero. Oh, what is that smell?
You know, I really resonated. The scene resonated with me a lot because back in the day, before I knew better, because I just heard a bunch of people say liberals are pussies, and so I didn't realize I was a liberal because I was like, I'm not a pussy, so I'm a libertarian because that sounds tougher than liberal.
There you go.
And
hey, we've all been 22. It's okay.
And so I just watching him look at his old self in this alleyway is how I look at the disgust I look at my old self with, where I'm just like, holy shit, I was a disgusting piece of shit. And that's how he's looking at himself. He's looking at his old crewmate down at the end of this alley, just groping this woman and filthy and sweaty and just disheveled and disgusting. And he's like,
yes.
Oh my God, what the fuck was I thinking? Nope. I have made a mistake. And he turns around and he's not even going to talk to this man. He was like, I can't.
Yeah.
He has been beating down doors to talk to these guys for, what, a year, whatever, however long he's been there?
Yeah, 6 months, something. Yeah.
And then he sees one all filthy and he's like, nope, that was my bad. That was my bad.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever said the phrase smells like low tide? Because I have.
Oh, yeah.
And I know exactly what
we live right by the river, so sometimes it smells like low tide, and it's not a good smell. It's not a good smell.
And probably what we're smelling when we're going, like, whoa, smells like low tide. Nowhere near.
No, nowhere near British 16th century.
Oh.
Yeah, because the late 16th century Billingsgate when he left there. Oh boy. Yep.
It was also the sewer, so it's like not just low tide, but it's like plus open sewer. Just
Yeah.
woo.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't just fish shit they were smelling, and it was everyone's shit that they smelled at low tide.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, I need a bath just from standing at this end of the alley.
Yeah, and the Japanese guy is like, yeah, your men are down here. Is like, please get them the fuck out of here. They've drunk all the liquor and they smell disgusting, and we want them out.
Yes.
And so he's like, I can't wait to get you to these guys.
But he's like, okay, he sees me. I gotta. And there's a lot going on with Solomon and the other guys that they didn't bring back. But he's just like, yeah, you've left us here to stew. And so we already kind of knew this was your fault, but we have like super attached every one of our woes upon you.
Yeah.
Like, we're not just mad. We hate you.
You're the whole reason we're here. Because everybody blames everything on this goddamn man and his boat.
Oh, yeah. In a way, because again, John Blackthorne, not narcissistic, but he definitely regards himself highly. He's like, yeah, I did kind of have the power of life and death over you guys. And, like there's a lot he doesn't want to confront here. So
yeah. And then he beats his old buddy down because the guy's like, you better take off those Japanese dresses, you weirdo. You can't be Japanese. Take off your dress.
Yeah. It just, goes downhill. And he's literally between a rock and a hard place. Like he's said, fine, Toronaga doesn't want me. Oh shit, I can't go home with my guys.
Oh, but first, before that, he pulls another Joe Pesci move because it's one of those where he throws this guy a beating and then he's like, ugh, you got your blood and shit all over me. You're disgusting. And he takes off his jacket and throws it on him like, I gotta burn all these clothes, which was totally a move from like Goodfellas and shit. Like, when they beat down somebody gross and they're like, you got your blood on me, and beat him even harder.
Yeah. I can't believe you made me get your blood on me.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you ruined my shoes.
Yeah, yes. Oh, totally.
He's a real alligator.
And so we get to, like, I didn't realize how good a pair Anjin and Yamashige are. And the show just says, I can't believe you've been missing this, so we're going to make you get it this time.
I love that guy. Yamashige is the best because he's the gruff, always irritated, but like bemused about his fate. He's just like, I'm getting fucked again. Ha ha! I'll make a joke about it.
Yeah, and that whole thing where Mariko's like, so you want to work for him? And he's like, I don't want to work for him. It's just like, I'm fucked. So if I have no other choices, like, I could do worse, but I can't do any better.
Yeah. He's like, Yamashige's a shithead, but he's my shithead, and I love him. Like,
right.
He's a lovable shithead. There's clearly that, like, buddy cop energy that they have, and they've had it right from the very beginning, so I love this. Hopefully we'll get, like, a buddy cop spinoff of these two after Shogun ends, and, they'll just be like buddy cops in Edo, just righting wrongs and bringing justice to the wicked.
There you go. And Mariko's like, you're giving up on Lord Toronaga. And I was like, I can't believe you're giving up on Lord Toronaga.
But no, Lord Toronaga cut him loose. And so he's going, because he doesn't understand what the plot is, and nobody's cutting anybody in. So he's going, well, shit, I don't have a master now, and I want to go fight these people.
Right.
I don't want everybody to just wait around to die. Like, I want to help. So he's trying to, like, well, you want to do something? Let's go do something. This man's going to go off and die anyway. He's not going to be your boss in a week. Like, fuck it. Why don't we just, you can call it a week's severance and just get it moving now.
Right, yeah.
So he's actually, it seems like in his eyes, he's trying to do the right thing.
Right, yes.
And I think Yamashige even sees he's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So, and he makes a really impassioned plea, like, I've kind of liked you ever since I first saw you on that cliff, even though we both hate each other. Like, we had a mutual respect, and like, let's go down swinging like you wanted to do out on that cliff, rather than going down and just like getting stabbed by some guy you hate. Like, why don't we do this together?
Yeah, and everybody's looking at him like, dude, you don't understand how this works. Like, I bet Anjin doesn't even know that there is like this 49-day clock that they're waiting out. And he's like, come on, chop, chop, let's go, let's go, let's go. I've got an idea. Got to do it right now. And everyone's like, just sit down, calm, be, chill. Wait. Yeah.
Do you know how many plots are going on right now? Like, just chill out for a second.
and also Yabashige is pointing out, like, look, yes, I love being the master of my own fate, but where I am on this ladder right now, betraying Toronaga is not a good option for me. So, yeah. Anjin, when he turns to Mariko and says, loyalty becomes senseless when the order is suicide, I was like, like, yes, I get that, but you, Anjin, would totally send people on a suicide mission.
And also, Japanese society at this point is basically based on suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't run on electricity, it runs on suicide. So...
Yeah, but it is really funny. He's like, yeah, I can't believe anybody would go on a suicide mission. I'm like, you would order one, dude. You would.
He fucking sailed to Japan and everybody died. He's literally the captain of a suicide mission.
Yes, yes. So that was pretty funny. Like, he is. Like, whereas Mariko and Buntaro are, like, working very hard to, like, face truths about themselves, Anjin is doing the opposite. He's like, you're making me think thoughts about myself I don't like, so I'm going to punch you out. You know?
Well, I will say that's basically every solution I had up until the age of 40 was, I don't like that thought. I'm going to go ahead and punch you about it until I feel better.
Well, you know what? Being inside, it's a little stuffy. So let's get outside. Let's go for a walk in the swamps of Edo.
Oh, this was the best part of the entire episode.
Oh, yes. And oh my God, you just have to admire Gin. She's looking at this like mud flat, and she has never been happier in her life. I mean,
no, because she's been dreaming about having this pleasure district ever since, I don't know, whatever, when she was young. And this is now her dream is finally being realized. And so she is hyped. And then out comes our Catholic priest, because he's hyped too. He is psyched. He's like, oh, and the guy who's with him is like, yo, you got one of the best plots in all of Edo.
This is a swamp.
Yeah.
They gave me a swamp. He's like, no, buddy.
No.
It's better.
It's better than a swamp. It is the best. And then he looks over and he sees Gin and he's like, oh, who are those people? Oh, those are your neighbors. They're awesome. And he's like, but they're courtesans. Dun, dun, dun. Because the tea house is going to be right next to church. Hell yes. Brothel church. Las Vegas is here right now. Edo, 1600. It is Vegas, baby.
And just the realization that washes over him. He's like, I've been a pawn. Like, I knew I was a pawn, but oh my God, he
got bamboozled. He got bamboozled. That was amazing. That was the most amazing masterstroke I think I've ever seen in anything. Yeah, it just like 16th century CeeLo needs to just like jump out of the bushes and be like, fuck you.
Oh my God, yeah. Because, I mean, Tsuji, father of Edo, thinks like he's all tricky and he's all plugged in and he has access. And yeah, it hit him. Boom. Right in the center. Like, oh, I have been played masterfully.
It's going to be the crown jewel of Portugal. Oh, shit. Whoopsie.
And so from there, we get to see the Taiko's widow, Lady Daiwin, having a stroke. And it's all like this is rough. This is all rough. But at least they're making her comfortable. And I really loved this because it gives you this little peek into how Daiwin, like, as much as we're seeing Ochiba as this whole schemer and like she's creating all of this complexity and everything, when Daiwin, like, her dying words, look what I made, I'm like, oh, she's the one who set up this whole game board.
She's the emperor. She has the electricity fingers. We just never saw them used.
Right.
Yep.
Like, everybody who's in their spot now, she's why. And the fact that they only give us this like little like peek behind the curtain and they're like, that's it. Nope, that's all you get. Doop.
Yeah.
Bop.
And we're like, what? She's Darth Vader? What is happening now?
Just like out. I get to go live peacefully. I just leave this mess with you guys.
Yeah.
That's all you. Boo-boo. Have fun.
I destroyed Japan. Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but before she dies, she's like, oh, but before I die, Ishido is trash. And you're trash for hanging out with him. So stop hanging out with trash and stop fucking up all of Japan. Yeah. But then she does say, but I created you right before she died. Like, oh, yay. Like, I created this mess, and you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Yep.
Yeah. And Ochiba, like, just her face, she's just like,
yeah.
Oh. She's having a Tsuji moment as well.
She's like, wait, I'm the pawn?
Yeah.
What is going on?
That's good. But yes, we get to go off to the big meeting. Dun, dun, dun. With Toronaga. And it's like all the generals, all the assignments, like this is where, the rubber's going to hit the road.
Boy, this is where he just outacted the shit out of it, and Hiramatsu just lost the thread.
Yes.
He acted so hard, his best friend got confused about the plan. Like,
yes.
Because, he's doing this signing, basically, I saw it as a test of fealty. Like, he wants to make sure that these people are on the page with him because he needs to know that they're with him. Even when they think that he is going to go kill himself, he needs to know they're on the page. They're on the same page with him. Like, these people are going to do what they're told.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm about to give you guys some crazy ass orders, and I just need you to like not question, just do them. Like he is doing some Wong Chao level creativity here,
right?
And there are a lot of moving parts. And what do you always say, Jamie, about too many moving parts?
I am not suited for Japan, and I would have been dead long before Hiramatsu.
Yes.
So yeah, I can't keep my mouth shut. So I mean, I wouldn't have made it to 16.
So you would have been the guy in the very first episode who's like, "What did you say?"
I just would have been one of the dead children. I would have been a child who had been boiled in oil, probably.
I think they're pretty good to their kids, though.
I was a mouthy child. Mouthy and energetic. Yes. What did you call? What sort of exuberance do I exhibit again? I've forgotten.
Irrational.
Irrational exuberance. Yes. This is the most perfect description of my energy levels.
But yeah, too many moving parts, and Hiramatsu gets caught up in the wheels because he's like, I'm trying to, like, you're gonna need your generals, like, don't, like, all these generals that you want to off, like, no, you'll need them, so I'm gonna just stop. And then Toronaga's like, stop it, don't say, you're gonna say that shit, you said the words.
Yeah, and there's people listening. God damn it!
Yes.
Like, there's people everywhere. The whole point of this was performative, and you're fucking up. And he's like, I'm gonna kill myself if you don't tell me that this is all fake. And he's like, if I tell you it's all fake, then everybody will know it's all fake. So you're gonna have to kill yourself now. What the fuck are you doing, man? And he's like, tears are in his eyes. He's like, genuinely, you've put me in a position where I can't do anything other than let you kill yourself. You're a jackass.
God, I can't believe you're fucking this up. Okay, and so this is where I watched it through once, and then this is where, before I watched it the second time, I was like, Buntaro is a tragic figure. His freaking dad makes him be his second. I was like, What the fuck went on in that home? Like, this?
Well, also, I will say his dad made him be a second because his dad didn't want any of these other dipshits fucking it up. Like, he didn't want 9 strokes to get his head off. But Buntaro still waited too goddamn long because literally at that time you were supposed to wait until the person cut into themselves. The second the knife went into the stomach, whoop, you got his head off. So you wanted a guy who was fast as hell. That's why I was like, oh, he chose Buntaro because Buntaro's going to get the job done immediately.
That's his kid!
He had to saw himself in half before Buntaro was going to cut his goddamn head off. It was insane. That guy sucks on every fucking level.
He's having some feelings.
He doesn't have any feelings. His only feeling is murder.
No, it's not. I mean, it certainly, like, it looks that way, but, like, what was going on in that house? Like, Buntaro didn't get that fucked up just because he's that way. Like, he obviously, some stuff that was going on at home emphasized whatever sort of like homicidal personality traits that dude had.
Oh, maybe he probably bumped his head once or twice and had a little CTE. I'm sure he had all the hallmarks of a serial killer. He had mercury poisoning. He had heavy metal poisoning. He had head injury. He had child abuse, and he had some traumatic event while he was a child. So I guarantee you, all those things were there. So yeah.
But just like the guy, saying, "Hey kid, chop my head off." I was like, "Oh wait, I missed. Like, I am less mad at Buntaro. Like,
it's really
still.
I'm telling you, that is a thing dads do. It's my dad, when he had brain cancer, literally made me promise him I would hold a fucking pillow over his face if he couldn't find some way to die on his own. And I was like, all right, fine, goddamn, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, but that's one thing.
It is a thing dads do. It's what dads do. And it's just like.
But the fact that clearly he was good at it and was, I don't know. What?
The fact that he was good at it means that his dad needed him there more than ever. Because again,
that's
you don't
true.
want. I mean, we were around for the early internet, so we saw a lot of weird ISIS videos and shit, and we know how long it can take somebody to get their head cut off.
I never looked that up. I completely admit to never wanting to know.
Well, you didn't have any friends who would just send you shit without telling you what it was.
Nope. See, this is what, what I said, maybe we would have hated each other, and you're like, I wouldn't have hated you. I'm like, maybe it was me who would have just like not have had the time of day for you. Like, maybe I was projecting onto you. Maybe
I see how it is. All right. Okay, then. There we go.
So maybe I've grown a little, possibly.
Well,
maybe. I hope.
Thank you for stooping to my level. Figuratively and literally. Since you basically have to bend at the waist to give me a hug.
Yep, we get through that.
Oh, and his dad tells him, not only do you have to chop my head off, you cannot die immediately afterwards. No, you have to go on living because I want you to feel the pain of loss or something like that, he said.
Of being denied.
His dad hates him. His dad hates him.
Thank
and
you.
Also, his dad knows that he's been denied by Mariko his entire life because he likes Mariko. So I think that he hates that kid, and he's always hated that kid.
Thank you.
It's just one of those where he's like, yeah, that kid's just fucking bad, and I've been waiting for him to die his whole life. He just keeps surprising me by living through shit.
Yeah.
So, which I think is what the conversation he had with Mariko. So it was probably a final fuck you, but also he's probably the best maniac in the room with a sword.
All of these things can be true for sure. But yes, thank you for yes. Like, relationship between dad and son, lots of people's lives were going to be screwed up by the way they treated each other. So, we got our little like horror clip in there. The way like his ponytail kind of came undone and some like hair flopped over the bald spot, I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, they were little gobbets flying through the air. It was nice. It was a good one. They did some good effects on that.
So then we get poor Toronaga. Why is everyone messing up my set pieces? Like, I had this all scripted out. Somebody had to go off book. What the fuck?
He knew the fucking plan. But again, I keep forgetting what the plan is because they keep faking everybody out with everything. So I'm sure it was real hard to follow. Like, there was a lot of, you just go home and like when you're in the wee hours of the night, you start doubting yourself and doubting the plan and thinking to yourself, maybe I'm fucking up. Maybe I must have had it wrong. Like,
Yeah, because you can't text each other in the middle of the night. They're like, are we still good, man?
Yeah.
They can't do that.
Yeah.
They just gotta like, all of this. But yeah, so to sort of console themselves and get through it, Toronaga and Mariko, they're reciting poetry to each other. And
they're dropping bars out there. Yeah. Like, Mariko had a great line. It was something like...
all of her words, a bonfire of words, yeah.
If her words would fall like leaves and petals, then they would make the world's biggest bonfire or something like that. It was pretty dope. It was a dope line.
But I mean, for what they're doing and how they're using it, this is very much like when people quote scripture at each other to sort of like explain the purpose of really frustrating or tragic or terrible events. I mean, it's really serving the same purpose.
Oh, I thought it was like a short, friendly battle rap. That's what it seemed like to me, where he like started a poem and then she finished it, and it was like whose thing was better. That's kind of what I thought.
I mean, definitely,
Oh, okay.
but like in terms of like the stuff that they were talking about
Oh, okay.
and
Gotcha.
the events that they were referencing, it had that same feeling of when people sort of quote scripture to comfort each other,
Okay.
or like help them get through a tough event.
Okay.
Because like this requires, no less study, but a different level of creativity.
Well, I think they were making those lines up though, rather than quoting stuff.
Oh yeah. And so, but like you study to be able to create your
Gotcha.
poetry.
Yeah,
like
I hear you.
The same way somebody would, people study scripture and like know kind of what, because both are equally as oblique at getting to the point quite often.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or just like hacky dudes like memorizing every fucking thing that Lord Byron ever wrote so they could pick up girls at a golf
There you
club.
go. Yeah.
Got to do your research so you can come up with those lines.
Right. So then, like, after they sort of like get through and settle themselves down, Toronaga's like, so anyway, has Anjin done the thing? Mariko's like, yep, he's done the thing. But Yamashige, he knows you're up to something.
Well, no, what she said was, so did Anjin-san go to Yamashige and try to do that alliance? And she was like, yeah, but Yamashige said no, because Yamashige's with you. And he was like, God damn it. Well, I guess it's a good thing that Hiramatsu died, so that now he has to go with him, because he was supposed to go fucking go with him. Like, those two, and I had to look up what a goshawk was, because I had read the word goshawk before and thought that it was a typo. So, because I don't know from birds, but do you know what a goshawk is?
Yeah, it's another hunting falcon.
Yeah, I guess I'm the only one who doesn't read a shitload of fantasy. So, yeah, I didn't know anything about them. But, yeah.
You ask Mel, you're like, which is this kind of bird? Yeah.
Yeah, but so there's a difference between falconry and raptoring?
I think it's just all generally called falconry, but like you use different birds for different purposes, and they each have their own status, and you use them differently. And yeah, so
he calls
like
Anjin
a dog.
Okay, cool. And he called Yamashige and Anjin goshawks because they have short wings and they're predictable. Is that what he said?
Yeah. And so basically what he's saying about them is like you just shoot them in one direction. Like there's other there'd be other birds that you can like send up, and like, because in the very beginning there was the one that like went up and like circled and like dove out of the sun, and whereas a goshawk would just like point A, point B. None of this like being tricky stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was kind of thinking it in terms of like the Air Force, and they were like fighter bombers as opposed to like actual bombers flying overhead.
Right. Yeah.
These guys got to go get something.
Right. And it's like, I didn't want it to go this way, but at least, I'm all in, and this will get everybody else all in. By the way, Mariko, are you all in? And she's just like, yeah.
Yep. What else am I going to do? I'm in the middle of this fucking mess. Also, there's a civil war. My husband's a psychopath and wants to die and kill me. Yeah, my life couldn't possibly be going any worse. So why not just go into some more danger? Is it away from my husband? Get me on that ship. Get me the hell away from that maniac. This sweaty lunatic.
So I thought that was the end, but nope. Then we get a little Ochiba Ishido, and she's like, well, yep, I'm on my own. And Ishido's like, everything's going my way. I'm going to get everything I want.
Oh, that top he was wearing was fire, too. Oh, my God, that thing was nice. I can't even describe it now. It almost looked like it was denim and then had like little like leather inserts. Like it would make a nice transition to like a Western style outfit. Oh, I love that outfit.
Oh, and you can, in some of these fashions, you can really see some of the more crazy stuff that they had Mai Ling in Warrior. You're like, okay, they were drawing from some of this stuff and like taking it to 11 and making no sense about it. But you're like, okay, yeah, all right. they were actually looking at pictures for some of that.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like I think it would be amazing if Beyonce, for touring for a new country album, like adapted this guy's outfit to her denim style for like a
Right?
Japanese samurai cowboy outfit. Like it was such a dope outfit Ishido was wearing at the end.
Yes. So then I thought, okay, that was going to be it. Because I was like, oh, don't relax, because that's when they get you, man. But no, we get one more. And, or no, we get two more. And so then Yamashige and Anjin are on the boat, and they kind of have their moment of accord.
They are beginning their buddy cop moment. It's coming together. They're like, hey, you know what? We should be best friends. I think we're best friends now. They're going to do karate in the garage.
Yeah, they're like, yep, we're out on our own, so we're going to go do the thing. And then Mariko shows up with the letter from Toronaga, and they're like, oh, we're doing exactly what he wants. Okay, all right, fine. I guess that's good too.
Yeah. Fuck, I thought we were rebelling. Damn it.
And then Mariko's like, nope, here's your good conduct.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done, boys.
Yeah, and I'm coming with you.
But I'm like, okay, now that's the end. No, one more scene. And we walk through the funeral grounds, and he's dressed. His hair is like done, like the sticky up ponytail is like dead.
Yeah, Toronaga,
dead even on top. I'm like, okay, he's ready. He's ready to go.
Also, so they've been showing his castle under construction the entire time, which I guess is Edo Castle. And does it not have you in mind of an iconic movie from your childhood the entire time? Every time you see it?
No.
It does not make
fucking
Death Star. It doesn't make you think of the Death Star. Every time they show it in the distance, I'm like, it looks like the fucking Death Star under construction. Like that's just.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, because because there's so much Japanese influence in Star Wars.
Oh, totally.
I just feel like this is the proto Death Star. Like
that is very possible. No, when the construction's going on, like I just got very caught up in how much Japanese 17th century house construction looks like post-World War II American construction. And I was just like, how much of like Japanese style house construction, because the way you built a house in the Western world is very different from the way they were building houses in 17th century Japan. And I was like, how much of how we build like the balloon framing, like that's just the wood tech that was going on. I got way too caught up in it.
Well, you're gonna have to fill us in on wood tech next time then.
Maybe, but yeah, if you look at the framing of those 17th century houses, that looks very familiar to us because that is how modern like Western houses are framed. But if you look back at 17th century houses, that is not how they build houses in the Western world.
No, how did they build them?
I mean, they had the pillars, but like again, I don't know the terminology well enough, but like the carpentry and then also the way that they were cutting wood into those boards, like that is not technology that we really had in the West, and yet somehow that's what they're doing in Japan. I'm just like, so that's the Death Star never occurred to me because I'm thinking house construction ability.
I know what you mean because they weren't framing out walls the way we do now. Like at the bottom of the frame, they would just fill in the wall with mud and daub and whatever. It just went to the ground and there was no real floor. If they did do a floor, it was like separate, it was just, they put it on top of the ground. So I get where you're coming from. Yeah. I get it.
Whereas like Japanese houses basically had crawl spaces. Like that didn't happen in American houses and Western houses for like centuries afterwards.
Well, that's something new for us to go down a wiki rabbit hole on.
Right? Yeah. Because, I mean, think about it. Like, even in 19th century America, we're still doing the dirt floor thing. And the Japanese would be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, you guys are fucking savages.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the houses in the United States still have dirt floors in the basements. Like, not all basements are finished.
Yeah.
And, which to me still seems crazy, but I guess.
Why do I have so much mildew? What's going on?
Yeah, we had to seal the hell out of our basement because this house had been here for 115 years, and with an unfinished, unsealed basement, and it just kept filling up with water. And it's like, what the hell is happening here? But whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what happens when a factory owner builds the neighborhood
Oh,
as
yeah.
opposed to city
Yeah.
planners, I guess.
Well, those workers aren't going to live that long. So,
Well, you
why
see,
spend on their houses?
let's not disparage them, however, because there was Milton Hershey. There was Milton Hershey, and he
Okay.
built a literal paradise for workers.
Well, we've only got 2 more of this, and I really sort of feel like we are being set up for like a lot is going to go down in the next 2 episodes.
There's so much speculation about what the spinoffs are going to be for this because it can't end, So, I mean, we can't go without Anjin. I mean, he has to be doing something after this.
Something, yes.
Yeah. He is too much fun as an actor. Like, we just need this man in our lives. He's too crazy.
It was really funny after he was just like super blundering around in the previous episode. Like, you could feel that he super reined himself in. He's like, okay, I gotta be cool. I'm going to the big city now. And then, he gets alone with his guy and just like all of his frustration of being like tidy and neat and small movements, he just starts wailing on him.
And nobody's going to give a shit if he beats the shit out of some random English person. It's not like, and plus he's a samurai, so he can basically do whatever he wants.
Yeah, they're just, nobody, foreigners who can't even speak right.
Yeah, and I think the Japanese guy who took him away from the scene at the end of it, the guy who was taking him there to be like, would you please get these guys out of here? I think he was probably like, oh, thank God this guy hates them too. Like, they can be changed. Like, we can make them into human.
Yes.
I really do understand Japanese condescension towards the West now, though, because it was hard to understand before,
Yeah. But it all very much makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's very justified.
All right. So, got a whole nother week to wait before next episode comes out. So, where can people find you in the meantime?
I am going to be on Instagram, and I also do a podcast, or I do a live on Wednesday mornings with Carved Out of Stone on YouTube, and on Friday nights we're doing one now too. So if you want to ask me questions about lifting and anything, you could literally ask me a question about anything. You can jump on either one of those lives and ask me all kinds of questions. But I post every day on Instagram, and you can get me there at Plague of Strength. How about you, Greta?
Okay. Well, we'll have to get the information for those so I can stick them in the show notes so people can actually, find out where those things are.
Cool. Carved Out of Stone on YouTube is...
All right.
Yeah.
And then, you can find me at the History of American Food, and I am probably heading into why we finally have cookbooks in the 19th century.
Why we finally have cookbooks. Interesting.
Because paper is cheaper, even though it's still made out of rags.
Yes, because I was like, we had cookbooks before. Oh, but why they got... But I mean, books in general became very popular in the 19th century because the price of paper
you didn't have to be insanely rich, and just, the whole cotton industry coming up, so cloth is cheaper, so paper is cheaper. And then also the mechanization of printing is coming along. We're getting past where you just you put them in, you have to ink it down, and you have to pull it 1 page at a time. We're starting to get a little bit faster than that too.
So we're really moving from pamphlets into books because it was a bitch to print a book before.
Yeah, America is just breaking all the rules when it comes to mechanization. We are in a hurry, and that is why and that's the spirit that Anjin was bringing to Japan. Come on, what's all this sitting around? Let's go. I've got ideas. Let's do it. America is fully caffeinated and nicotined and in a goddamn hurry at this point.
Well, so that's the thing you didn't mention about the tea. So that green tea they're spooning in is very highly caffeinated, right? That was matcha tea, right? And matcha tea is higher. People love to tell me about how high in caffeine it is. It's higher than coffee.
Well, it's because the leaves are so barely processed, because the more you process tea or any caffeinated plant material, more of the caffeine is destroyed. And so if you're barely processing it, all the caffeine is there.
Which is why they drink coca tea in Peru.
Yeah. And so that's why blonde under roasted and green coffee is super high in caffeine, and the darker the roast is, the lower the caffeine is.
Yeah, people always get that wrong. Always. They always think darker means stronger for some reason. Just means
It tastes stronger, baby.
just means more burned. You just burned it. You burned the shit out of it. People who like dark roast coffee are people who like white chocolate and well done steak. Those are all. It's one. If that Venn diagram is a single circle, it's just people who make bad decisions.
White chocolate isn't chocolate.
No. It's poison. It's poison, and it should be barred. Sale for human consumption.
All right. Well, we will be back next week with episode 9, and I think now we will probably have some explosions. Maybe,
but I think if we're going to leave everybody with any parting knowledge, it is dark chocolate is the only real chocolate.
Fair enough. All right.
Have a great week, guys.
We're on Instagram at PCG Podcast, and you can always reach out to us by email at pcgpodcasters@gmail.com. And you can find more dope beats like this one from royalraven.com.